Hey guys, got a new video back in Path of Exile. It's going to be sort of a follow-up video and for the Inquisitor Hexblast League starter. There was a couple things I didn't mention and I wanted to go over and go over some questions too, I guess. First of all, I do want to put out there that this build is made for a specific thing, and while it can go and do other types of content, usually I'm not actually pushing this character up until endgame. I'm switching over to a different build. So like a lot of times there's a build you want to play but you can't league start it. So in my case it's the armor stacker. You can just actually, it's impossible to league start an armor stacker because the items that you need for the build aren't really available till like day 2, day 3. So there's a lot of other builds like that, like I don't know, cast on crit or some other kind of build where you just can't league start. So in that kind of case you need a kind of like a recycle build, a build that you just play to farm up the currency for the build you actually want to play. So that's how I use this character. So usually around day 3 I'm just switching builds completely and playing a different character. So that's kind of how I use this character, and there was a couple leagues where I actually did push this character all the way up till endgame. Like the first time I actually played this build, I pushed it all the way up till endgame and, you know, did all the endgame bosses, the mapping. I was doing a lot of blight, I think, with this character. This character is pretty good at blight, I think. Alright, so let's go over a couple of questions I got in the last video. So this build is made for heisting, like I said before. You can go get your void stones with this video. I don't really know how, how much gear you would need because I personally didn't do it that way. But basically by the time that I'm in T16 maps, or like getting close to red maps, T15 to T16 is when I have enough. I have all the gear I need for my armor stacker, so I'm usually just re-rolling to the armor stacker and then doing the rest of getting my void stones and stuff on the armor stacker. That being said, there has been some leagues where I did use this Hexblast character to get my void stones, or back in the day, increase their awakening level or whatever, so it is definitely doable on this build, but you're gonna need better gear. I'm still using, I think I still did it with the same weapon, the same shields, but I just had better gear. I think I had like cluster jewels and all that kind of stuff, right? So you definitely do want to get better gear before you attempt, like the bosses, big, bosses and stuff like that. I don't really think this version can do uber bosses. I just want to put that out there. It's not really made for that. Anyways, yeah, so, and with the cast speed, definitely fueled the cast speed nerf. So Hexblast did get a cast speed nerf, but it also did get sort of a different quality of life with the removal of doom. So before you'd have to like cast flammability, wait for the doom to build up, and then Hexblast, right? And so that was really awkward, but now that you don't have to do that, there's a couple cool things you can do. So first of all, I guess like you could use the profane proxy and have your main curse in that, which you couldn't really do when the doom system existed, right? So and then you can also have it in Arcanist brand and all that kind of nice quality of life stuff, right? So it is kind of a trade-off in a way. The cast speed hasn't really annoyed me that much, so I guess it's kind of personal preference, but you definitely do notice it a bit. But for the I don't know, for the performance per price you get for this build kind of outweighs a lot of these small annoyances for me, because all I want to do is I want to build that can just get in there, get in the heist, get my money, so I can move over to the armor stacker build, right? So it serves its purpose, and I don't really think any other build will probably do the same. You probably have to spend money upgrading your league starter, which is something I really don't want to do. I don't want to spend any money on my league starter. Let's take a look at the gear that I've made. So I had to actually remake all my gear. I tried to replicate the gear I had on league start, so it's pretty, basic gear, just resistances, basically that, right? A little bit of life. Running a tabula. I wasn't even really running a tabula when I was doing my heisting or last league, just running a 5 link. Yeah, and had some leftover gear. And let's see. So this character didn't even get his full ascendancy unlocked. We're still only on the first 2 points. Same thing for Pantheons. Nothing's really upgraded or anything. It's all just kind of everywhere. So this character is pretty much a mess. But let's just see what it looks like inside of a heist. Right? And then we'll go over some of the heisting, like how I'm doing my heisting and stuff like that. Alright, so let's see. We'll go into this one. I'm running all my heists, how would you say, normal. I'm not actually upgrading any of them because there's no real point. You don't really get anything, any extra rewards. All the rewards we're going to be getting is from, it's going to be from the chests, right? So having them upgraded just makes it slower, right? So you don't want to do them with any mods. Alright, so this is just going to be sort of like a demo, right? And this isn't actually the kind of contract I'd be doing, but mainly what we're doing is we're actually just going for these chests, right? So we're going to go for the chests. We're going to open as many small chests as we can. What was the button for this? Kind of forget. But yeah, just click it. I did have a hotkey for that, but I haven't played in a while, so kind of forgot. But we just go here and open up the chests. Right, you know, get your rewards. We'll open the next one, and then we will open as many small chests as we can, I guess, until right before we trigger the alert. Okay, so we get our loot. Go over to the next one, just open that up. You know, we get our loot, we get our chaos orb, get another chaos orb. Wow, man, if this was like League Start, that'd be awesome. Hopefully I'm not using up all of my RNG making this video. Actually, this league I had really bad luck. Didn't get a divine till like mid week 1. That's like my first raw divine drop was mid week 1. So no, week 2 I think. Yeah. Wow, 3 chaos. So I guess you can kind of see why these early level heists are so good. It's like we just got 3 raw chaos from running this this heist, and that wasn't even from the big rewards, right? So and that is pretty common. Like there's some heists where you just you know, you'll get I don't know, I've gotten about 5 or 6 chaos, you know, and pretty frequently you'll get at least 2 to about 4 to 5 chaos per heist. So we're going to be generating quite a lot of raw currency in these heists. So yeah, in early game, you know, 1 divine is like 30, 40, 50 chaos, so it's like, it's pretty good. One thing my filters probably isn't showing now is like the well, actually wait, it's an upgrade, is the rare gear. So I do the chaos recipe a lot. I guess we'll get into that once we go over some other things. Okay, so that's sort of like a heisting gameplay. I do have a mapping gameplay I've recorded, so I'll have that playing in the background somewhere at some point in this video. But let's go over this new paint thing I made. Alright, so League Start, what am I doing? So on day 1, what is my goal for day 1? So first of all, what I'm doing is I'm going to be rushing Act 6. Basically we want to get access to Rogue Harbor, so to do that we need Act 6. So for day 1, all I want to do is get to Act 6, and now that you don't get rogue markers guaranteed from a quest, so what I'm going to be doing is I'll go over to the Twilight Strand. So I'll go over to Act 6, right? There's a quest you can get from Lily there too, but basically you just kind of run this area and then try to get some rogue markers. If you don't get the rogue markers, go back, create a new instance. You can just hold control, click new, and then just keep running this place here, because you know from Act 6 you can drop these rogue markers. I don't really think they'll show up on my filter now, but yeah, so we just do that until we get the rogue markers, and then we'll go over as soon as we get our first little, oh, we can't use it here. As soon as we get our first rogue markers, then we're going to be going straight to the we'll go straight over to the rogue harbor. Alright, so there is like one first quest that you can do, right? So I usually just run that one. And then after that, we are going to be just buying contracts from Wakano, where the vendor is. So there is this vendor over here, this guy here. He can reveal blueprints, right? And you can also purchase contracts from him. If we buy a bunch of stuff from him and we level up, then he's going to refresh his stock. So every time you level up, he refreshes his stock. So before, what you could do is you could level up, buy from him, then you could de-level yourself with the Book of Regret kind of thing, and that would also refresh his stock, so you could go buy again. So you could just basically keep buying from him and do that infinitely. But now you can't really do that. So what I do is I just every level make sure I buy from him, buy contracts from him every level, and once I am kind of like not leveling up so fast anymore, I'll just start progressing the campaign a little bit more. So I'll go a little bit through Act 6, maybe get to Act 7, maybe level up around here, then I'll go back, do some more contracts, buy more contracts, do the contracts, and then keep going through the acts and buying contracts and just repeating until I actually end up finishing the campaign. And then by that point, I pretty much have most of the money I need, so I'm just gonna go do a little bit of maps and stuff like that. Okay, so what kind of contracts are we buying? Basically, you know, I like these random reward ones. So in my experience, the random reward chests, these ones, the generic reward drops more raw chaos than anything else. All right, so you think the currency one would drop more, but not really. The random reward seems to be dropping a lot more chaos than all of the other ones combined, right? So that's why I like doing these three here. So demolition, engineering, perception. Most of the time I prefer demolition, right? And then if you don't have, if Wakano isn't selling these, then you can just run anything. There is quite a few other good ones you can get, and you'll unlock other heist members by doing these. So you know, you don't really have to run all these, but whenever I have these, I prioritize running them. And always make sure whenever you level up, you have to go buy contracts, because yeah, you can't do this infinitely anymore, so you definitely want to be sure you have a lot of contracts stocked up. Now these contracts, they are going to be costing Orb of Chance, and the rare ones cost alchemies. So you definitely do want to get a lot of Orb of Chance. Now early games might be kind of hard to actually keep a stock of Orb of Chance, but you will get a lot of these from Heist. And if you ever do run out of these, you can buy them for Orb of Fusings. And might seem kind of, you know, counterintuitive to spend your Orb of Fusing, because those are pretty valuable too at League Start. But, you know, end of the day, trading for these is just kind of insane. So let's come over here. And wait, she doesn't even sell them here, huh? Maybe it's like in the later acts where they sell them. Alright, because we're at the wrong act. Alright, so we just come back to Lionized Watch. We'll go over this guy here. And Orb of Chance. So it's 1-to-1, so just, you know, buy a whole bunch and then go back to the Rogue Harbor, buy our contracts. Okay, and once you get enough rogue markers saved up, like when you first start, you're not going to have that much. So you're going to slowly build up your rogue marker stock by running your contracts. And when you have enough of them, what I like to do is I like to buy blueprints. Okay, so I buy these from trade. Usually day 1, day 2, day 3-ish. They're pretty cheap. They go for like 1 to 2 to 3 chaos, depending on the blueprint. And I like to run... it is going to be the underbelly, or not underbelly, sorry, my bad, repository, or tunnels. These two are the ones that I prefer to run, and I'll usually run these until they go up in price. Like once they pass about 4 chaos per blueprint is when I kind of stop running them. So basically, yeah, we do our heist contracts and build up some rogue markers, and then we run the blueprints with the rogue markers when we have excess markers, and don't really bother revealing them, because early league it's cheaper just to buy a new blueprint than it is to reveal it. Rogue markers are a little bit pricey, I think, early league, so yeah, it doesn't really matter. I usually don't really reveal my blueprints. Okay, so what are we doing in our contracts? How do these contracts make money? Well, the contracts are going to be generating most of the money you make in this strategy, basically just from raw chaos. Raw chaos orbs is going to be one of the main money makers. Aside from that, there's other currency items, orb of regrets, orb refusings, other small bubblegum currency you can get. After that, there is gems. You get some gems, div cards, uniques. Those are kind of hit or miss, kind of. Another big moneymaker is the chaos recipe. A lot of people don't like this, but this is probably half of your profit. Because a lot of times when you're doing chaos recipe and maps, the one thing you don't get is jewelry. So amulets, rings, stuff like that. Those are pretty rare in maps, I guess, unless you come across one of the exiles or whatever, right? But in Heist, you get a lot of jewelry. You get a lot of rings. You actually get way too many rings and amulets. So it is, yeah, you're going to be doing, making a lot of chaos from doing the chaos recipe. So I definitely recommend you do that as well. And then day 1, day 2, I'm just converting all of my chaos into divines. Basically because divine orbs pretty cheap day 1, day 2, day 3, right? Price is still low on chaos, so just make sure before you end a session you convert all of your chaos into some other kind of currency, because chaos is not really what you want to be holding in. I prefer divines because most of the things I'm trying to buy are going to be listed in divines, so. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I do at the early stages of the game, like day 1, day 2, sometimes up till day 3. I'm just doing heisting basically on this Inquisitor league start that I showed in the last video. Yeah, it might not be like the best strategy. You could probably do some other strategies, but this is what works for me. It's what I'm comfortable with. And usually I am farming up my mage blood by the end of week 1. And by the end of week 2, I have my 3 1 passive voices. And a fully geared armor stacker. Then I can go enjoy the league. So, I'm sure there's other strategies that are better, but this is just what I've been doing the past four leagues or so, and it's been working out pretty good for me. So I wanted to share this strategy with you guys. Maybe you might like it too. So anyways, I'm always trying to improve the strategy. Every league I find some new tricks and stuff. So if you know any tricks or have any tips for me, let me know in the comments. That'd be real nice. And yeah, I'll have a POB, I guess, of this character I showed off. Well, not really showed off, but the character in this video. It is a little bit different than the POB in the league starter, mainly with the flammability, curse link, and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, that'll be in the description. Go check that out. And thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day, and see you next time.